starts today, you fucking maggot motherfucker. Stop blaming everything on everybody. And fucking American society and the fucking iPhone. Fuck you and the fucking iPhone. Fuck you and fucking Facebook. Fuck you and social media. It's all about you, you dumb motherfucker. Get up, grab your balls. Hug your wife, kiss the kid. Pick up the fucking dog. Stop it. Stop it. It's not all Obama's fault. You don't want Ebola? Take your vitamin C, you dumb motherfucker. You don't want ISIS to fuck with you? Stay in New Jersey. But stop your fucking crying. You're a fucking American, you fucking douchebag. Start acting like it. That's it. You're a fucking American. Motherfucker.
And
here we are.
Here we are.
Once again,
March 27th.
Is that it? That's it, huh?
Episode 155 or something.
Last weekend of March.
It's crazy.
Into April.
We're already into April.
I know, man.
Damn close.
Sheepdog's around the corner.
I know.
We're like 6 weeks away or so.
Give or take,
Yeah. That's exciting. It's funny, man. I look back, like when I signed up for that course.
It was like last summer, dude. I signed up in like August.
Yeah, you signed up before I did. And, I was looking back, I think, I signed up for it right after I bought my first handgun. And man, that was like October, November, somewhere around there. And so it, dude, which is crazy. It's like 4 or 5 months ago. And,
you fit a lot of learning in the past.
A lot of learning in it, man. Yeah.
5 months.
That's what I was going to say. Like my experience level, when I signed up for it, and I remember I was all like, oh, dude, they're going to teach us all this shit. This is great. This is awesome. And then having the realization of like, that's like fucking 5 months away. Like, I'm going to need to learn stuff between now and then. I can't just sit around and do nothing between now and then. So, yeah, like where I'm at now and just in, even another 6 weeks compared to where I was when I first signed up for it is, it's an interesting, it's just like doing jiu-jitsu, man. You look back on like, where you were, it just in the past. If you're doing things right, you should be getting better. And so it's interesting to look back and be like, damn, trying to see the world through less experienced eyes. And then, looking back and being, I don't know, it's just an interesting thing. So I'll be excited to go, man.
It'll be a good weekend.
Hell yeah.
That'll be here before you know it. That'll be right around the corner.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I guess my point is I'm less afraid of embarrassing myself now. So I feel like I've got a few, hopefully I won't be the least knowledgeable guy. I don't want to be the most knowledgeable guy because you want to learn. But you don't want to be that dude who's just like, finds out that like, oh, wait a minute. Like I was not prepared for this.
Not prepared. I think we'll be all right.
I think we'll be okay, man.
I don't lose much sleep over that. I think we'll be all right.
What we've been doing, man, we did the lesson. You've done the training with the...
You've been doing a lot more shooting than I have.
Yeah, I've been kind of lucky that way.
Well, I wouldn't say it's luck. I mean, you've constructed your life this way, so you have the time and the resources. Yeah. And you enjoy doing it. Yeah. So I wouldn't really chalk any of it up to luck.
Well, my ammunition...
Yeah, you did. That was fine. Nowadays, finding ammunition definitely...
Dude, I have like a sixth sense for that shit. It's crazy. And so, yeah, I'm in a much more fortunate position than a lot of people are as far as like being able to go to the range on a weekly basis and shoot 100 rounds. But yeah, it's funny, man. I'm there and the range officers will come up and say hi and I'd be like, yeah, it's funny, dude. It's like, dude, I'm out here every fucking week. I see you guys all the time. And you guys, a couple of them are starting to recognize me in my truck and stop with the whole, so you've been out here shooting before? It's like, motherfucker, I've talked to you half dozen times. I'm out here every fucking week. Yes. It's, but yeah, and then inevitably someone will comment about like, oh, wow, that's, because I'll say like, I try to get out here at least once a week. And I'm like, oh, wow, it's, a lot. Where are you getting the ammo for that? And it's like, just was able to squirrel some away and just come across some, through the time and stock up when you can. But yeah, you get efficient. Like I've got 100 round, I guess like drill, like whatever routine,
practice routine
that I'll go through. That I can even like cut it down to like 50 rounds if I have to. But I feel like it's pretty effective as far as like, because you can do so much dry fire. The thing that you got to practice firing is recoil management. Like that's the one thing you cannot simulate in dry fire. But all the other shit, like I don't got to go out there and practice reloads and I don't know. It just I can do that in dry fire, so I'll do. But I do start out every time. My first 5 shots are eyes closed, just firing blind into the berm. And I'm looking, like I was telling you, like if I'm doing it right, I get to the point where I get my sight picture, I close my eyes, I fire, open my eyes, and same sight picture. And ultimately, that's what you want. Like you're looking for consistent recoil. And so like figuring out like, just getting that feel for how's the gun feel, how's your body feel, so that you're not twisting. Because that's where the inconsistent recoil comes from a lot is, over muscling the gun and then not really like having yourself twisted in some way and not really realizing it. But once you get yourself like all lined up, then the gun will like come right back without you having to like put it there every time.
Yeah, because you're not going to stop it from recoiling. You know what I mean? No matter how hard you squeeze that gun. Yeah. It's going to move.
Yeah, it's going to move.
It's going to move.
Yeah, so it's been... but yeah, I do that and then I'll start doing my drills, but it's... I'm starting to get, like, okay with it, man.
Do you shoot at... That's what I was going to ask. You shoot at paper target or steel target to see if you hit it, or what do you do?
No, I'm shooting at paper at first.
Gotcha.
So, like, that's one of my targets there. This is my 365, did 10 rounds with that, but this is all with the 320. So yeah, pretty good little grouping there, and but yeah, I like to shoot the paper first, because like Al was telling us, like you
basically gotta get warmed up.
Yeah, what you hit. Like just hearing the steel go ding, that's great. But man, you can
be off, you can
clip that thing and it'll go ding. So yeah, having the paper tell you, okay, I'm being consistent. And then what I'll usually do is do my first like 50 rounds with on paper, and like I said, I got a little routine I go through. And then if I'm gonna shoot more, I maybe polish up a couple other things, but that's when I'll go to the steel, like after I've spent some time like making sure I'm shooting accurately, and then I'll go trying to deal with like target acquisition and different stuff. But it's it's fucking fun, man. Like I said, competing is what really like brings it all together. Like that's the rolling. Like that's what's so cool about jiu-jitsu, man, is like you don't have to compete to really pressure test your jiu-jitsu.
Pressure test every time you go to class.
Yeah, I mean obviously competition offers a different level of that, and there's value to that, but unlike pretty much any other sport, you have to compete to really pressure test your skills. In jiu-jitsu is unique, and they're like, yeah, last night I was pressure testing my skills like crazy. And so, but without that pressure testing of your skills and really like the all the skills, like what is the actual context, how are they actually being used together? Like without that, it really makes it tough to I don't know, like really like take your skills as far. And that's what makes jiu-jitsu so great, right? Is that we get to do that. We talked about this before, like versus another martial art, where they don't pressure test their skills as much for whatever, punching, kicking, or whatever reasons. And then you get into a fight, and it's like, dude, I do this all the time. And for them, it's the first time they've ever really experienced like 100% go. And I think that's one of the secrets to jiu-jitsu success. Like, yeah, obviously the techniques and stuff.
No, hands down, that is one of the biggest secrets to jiu-jitsu being one of the superior martial arts.
Yeah,
is that constant pressure test.
Yeah, it's just another Friday night. Yeah. if somebody wants to fucking get silly and try and fight me for some reason, obviously social violence situation, we're not having a result to deadly force stuff, but yeah, it's a lot different for the jiu-jitsu guy. But I see that in the shooting world, where okay, what is the pressure test? Because we're not going to go get into a gunfight. I mean, it's not the thing to do.
It's not advisable.
Right, not advisable. And so, how else can you pressure test it? Because without it, everything else is just theoretical. Mm-hmm. I think that's where the competing has a really significant role in your handgun skills, is that because you were doing it with the trap shooting,
mm-hmm.
like
just to get familiar with the old shotgun.
Yeah,
that's the reason I got into it.
Yeah, but mm-hmm. just getting out there and like having a purpose, right? Mm-hmm. So now I do this, and it's like afterwards you're able to kind of analyze, like, okay, what was I struggling with? What do I need to get better at? Because you're using the skills in the context of the sport or whatever, and so it's it's good. And like you asked me like how did I do or something, and it's like, dude, I didn't get disqualified for a safety violation. That's pretty much my primary goal at this point. And it's funny the way they have it set up, man. Like there's so many divisions and there's so many like different things going on. I don't even know who I'm competing against.
Mm-hmm. And it doesn't even matter.
No.
It's not really why you're doing it.
No.
You're doing it for your self-improvement.
100%. And like I said, I don't even know who the fuck I'm competing against. There's like, you got these different squads and there's different people on the squads and they're competing in different divisions. And it's just like, all right, I'm doing my thing here. I'm shooting my thing. Obviously you that is cool. Cause it's just, again, it's so, like jiu-jitsu in that the people who are better at it, they want you to enjoy it and come back and do it. So they're friendly. You're not running across like, these real macho. I think like the shooting in general is one of those areas that people might like with jiu-jitsu. Like if you think, I don't know about jiu-jitsu, man, I'm going to come across these like fucking macho assholes that just want to beat my ass. People think that, but then you get into it and you realize, these are the nicest people in the world. Mm-hmm. And I kind of see a little bit of that, with the shooting sports too. Like everybody's not some like ex-special forces, like hard ass. They're just like normal people. Yeah. And they're pumped you're out there and they want you to do good. And so they're like, giving you some advice on the stages and you're seeing kind of what they're doing. And it's, I shot like 120 rounds or so at the competition. And dude, that's like the most valuable 120 rounds that I've shot. You know what I mean? Like the value on that 120 rounds is like 10 times the value of a normal
just going out there and shooting 120 rounds.
Yep. Yeah. It's crazy. And like but anyways, I'm talking it up, so I'm trying to get you out there to do one.
I mean, I understand.
I know you need to. Yeah.
I know there's plenty of benefit. It's more of it's just an allocation of resource issues. Like my focus is, like I only have so much bandwidth.
Yep.
I have so much time, money, and all this other shit. Like I know it's gonna be beneficial, but I'm not putting much mental resources into that right now. Like
there's enough friction in the way. Yeah. And the biggest friction is it's on fucking Saturdays.
Yeah.
Like I'll almost guarantee you that if it was on a Sunday,
that's a big friction.
If you didn't have to miss Saturday jiu-jitsu for it, that it'd be you'd probably already have done it.
Yeah, that is a big hurdle. And and on top of that, all my extra mental resources are going to other things, learning about. But
well, see, we had the reverse conversation with me this morning when we were like, I've only got so much bandwidth, and I know that I need to learn about Bitcoin and this other stuff, but
how much do you need?
Yeah, exactly. So it's
because everything you do, there's an opportunity cost.
Yeah,
every hour you spend thinking about one thing is an hour you're not spent thinking about another thing.
Oh my God, yeah.
I mean, and the older you get, the more you learn this.
It's become so fucking blazingly clear to me in like the last year or two that like, that is just so true. And so you can't waste time.
You can't waste time.
Oh God, yeah.
And dude, I'm big on that, because dude, I think about it, like the amount of time that I invest just setting myself up for my work week. So I'm as efficient as possible, basically when it comes down to like food prep and just the system, a schedule of, sleep and food prep and working out. Like it is a carefully constructed system, and I got to put a fair amount of time into that. I can't just go into that haphazardly, because you do, then you're going to be so inefficient.
Yeah.
And you're going to get to the end of the week and you're not going to fucking have anything accomplished. Or you're going to have a shitty week.
Oh, yeah.
And so
you're an extreme example, man. Like, if you've got to fit everything you can into every second that you can scrape out of your day. And which is, it's inspiring, right? Like, that's definitely one of the things that, you're my Jocko in that area.
It's taxing, man. Man. There's days it beats me down. It is taxing, dude. Because literally, dude, I wake up every morning at fucking 4 a.m. so I can fit all the shit in. I don't have to leave. I leave for work around, let's just say 6:30, give or take a bit.
You're one of the few guys who can look at Jocko's Instagram and think pussy.
But I have to get all the shit I want to get done. Like, that just has to be what happens.
Yeah, man.
Because if you don't, because I have no idea how long my workday is going to be. I don't know if I'm going to be done in 8 hours or if I'm going to be done in 14 hours. Like, I don't know. It's just whatever. And so if I put off anything I really want to get done to the end of the day, it might not get done because I may end up having to fucking be gone from home for 16 hours. And so it's just, there's only so many hours in the day.
Yep.
And so, yeah, dude, every morning, fucking 4 a.m., I'm up. And it's just, get after it.
Get after it. Fuck yeah. I'm not quite 4 a.m., but...
It wears on you. It's not easy.
Yeah, but it's, I don't know. It's funny, man. I went through a period when because we're it's about a year ago, a little over a year, like when all the craziness started to fucking happen. They shut down March Madness, and that was, I remember joking with Kieli, like, man, I can't wait for April to get here. I hope on April 1st we're just gonna find out this was a giant April Fool's joke.
I remember you saying that.
But so there was like a big period of indecision and not knowing and all this shit, and like, what else happened? Nick, my Dr. Nick, that would come over and work out with me every morning. He got involved with a lady friend, and so he stopped being as available. And so without someone coming over all the time, and just I started to get into a habit of just like sleeping in. It was easy to wake up when I wanted to wake up, and I was still like 7 or 8 o'clock. It wasn't like I was sleeping until fucking 10 or 11. But man, I noticed that at the end of the day, more often than not, I was ending the day frustrated with my lack of getting shit done. And like waking up now at 6 o'clock and just keeping the habit is you feel better at the end of the day than you would sleeping in. You sleep in, you don't get shit done, you're not going to feel as good at the end of the day. And yeah, it's hard waking up earlier than you want to, but that feeling at the end of the day that you got your shit done is worth it on some level. It's like, that's what you're balancing, is like, hey, me right now would rather stay in bed, but I know the future me is going to be fucking disgusted with myself. And I can't do that. I don't want to fucking deal with that disgust. So
that disgust is heavy and nasty. Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. Like it's funny, man. I was having this talk with Shiloh about controlling your emotional self, and in some ways, like sleeping in is your emotional self, right? And like that's not you. Like your emotional self is not you. It may feel like you, but it's not. And what's tough is that there's this. I mean, it's tangible. Like for me, like my temper, man. Like I get mad at stupid shit, and I can physically feel like there's a physical feeling to it. And I feel like if I just yell and cuss and kick something and blah, that I'll feel better, right? I'll feel better. But man, I've fucking done that so many times, and afterwards just felt so disgusted with myself. Like, why did I say those things? Why did I act that way? Why did I do that? And like eventually the disgust, it starts to like become worse. It's like, yes, in the moment, like I said, sometimes it can be almost physical. How hard the emotional self
it's definitely physical.
Take control, right? But if you don't, like at that moment, you've got to make that decision. Like I said, like future self or is going to be disgusted with you, and that disgust. If you don't want to deal with that disgust, then you just got to fucking like just whatever it takes to get over that. Get your emotional self, and a lot of times it's just recognizing like, this isn't who I am. This isn't who I want to be. Like, I don't want to be the person that acts like this. I don't want to be the person that fucking sleeps in and doesn't do what I know I need to do. That's not who I want to be. And I just got to, like, grit through this moment. And on the other side of it, it's better. Mm-hmm. It's going to be better. Like, you know, that day without disgust at yourself is much better than giving into it in the moment.
Man, I'm reading Jordan Peterson's new book.
Oh, okay, yeah.
12 More Rules or something.
Yeah.
And actually, I just finished chapter 4 this morning and started chapter 5. And man, I want to say it was like chapter 2 or 3. I'd have to go back and look. I should have wrote it down, but he talks about a lot of this. You know, is who do you want to be? You know, what are you aiming for? What are you going to be?
Yeah.
And he's talking about all these same things, just in different words.
It's important, man. And it's not something that we get. It's almost like the opposite. Like, you know, especially in today's society, like, you are taught that, like, oh no, that emotional self is you.
Yeah, and whoever you are, whoever you are, that's okay.
Yes.
You shouldn't feel bad about yourself.
No.
Yeah. Wrong. Yeah. You should feel bad about yourself a lot of times.
Yeah.
Because that's how you improve.
That's how you improve, man.
You recognize it's okay to feel. I mean, obviously you can take anything too fucking far, but yeah, that's okay. You should feel shitty about yourself on a fairly regular basis because it'll motivate you to make those tough decisions.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Because those decisions are tough, man.
They are tough.
Do you think I like waking up every day at 4 a.m.? I mean, granted, I have got to the point to where I do. You know, I love my morning routine. You know, I slept in, I'd say 4 a.m. That's during the week. I slept into like 4:30 today. You know, I let myself sleep in a little bit. But
well, I remember at the wilderness, when we were at the wilderness course, you were up at like fucking 5 o'clock and out the door looking for a Starbucks.
Yeah, I went for you know, a half hour, 45-minute walk. Yeah. 5:30 in the morning.
But you just got yourself trained that way, and you don't look at it as this like you said, like you've trained yourself to enjoy it on some level.
Yeah, but it's still difficult.
Yeah.
Even though I enjoy it, it's still your warm bed is comfortable, man. You're all stretched out and covered up. I mean, the room is cool, so you're all tucked in, and you pull that blanket off, and it's chilly. You're like, fuck, I could just lay back down. Like, yeah, every day. But once you just get up and do it, you enjoy it. But it's difficult, man, and it's but like you said, it boils down to who do you want to be.
Yeah, who do you want to be, man? That is something I think. You know, just the lack of heroes, like legitimate heroes in today's society, so that people can be like, that's who I want to be, that's who I want to act like. It's man, I'm reading that. I told you that book About Face, about Colonel Hackworth, and he was and the foreword to the book was written by Jocko, and apparently this is like Jocko's extreme ownership book. And anyways, it's a biography of this guy. But it's really interesting to read it, and you can see where, fuck man, dude, my brain went in a bunch of directions when I started talking about that book. What were we talking about?
Who do you want to be?
Who do you want to be? Yes, yeah. And so just that, like, this is who you can see in reading this book. Like, oh, I can see where Jocko got it from. Like, Jocko was reading this book, and this is what he said in the preface. Is like, you know, I was reading this book, and it was like, this is who I want to be as a leader. You know, this was my hero, and so who I wanted to emulate. And then Jocko becomes like that hero for a lot of people. But yeah, man, if you don't have that hero who you want to emulate, I guess that was like my point. Is like, most people look at Jocko and they're like, dude, you know, look at that guy. That guy's fucking awesome. But then realizing, like, even he had a hero. Mm-hmm. He had someone that he was trying to emulate and be like. And it's just that he wasn't born that way, you know? Like, obviously there were some traits that he had that leaned him in that direction, but he wasn't born Jocko. Like, he became Jocko. And a big part of that was having a hero that he wanted to emulate that helped him become Jocko. And it's
you know, shoulders of giants.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we're all doing. You have to ask yourself, who do you want to be? What do you want to be like? And then you got to look at somebody who's done it. And it doesn't mean they're perfect in all areas of their life.
Right.
So you look at different people for different, you know, aspects of your life that you're pursuing, and you see what they've done, and you fucking get after it. And you may have to fork off a little bit. You know, you see, like, okay, they did it this way, but, you know, I think it'd be better for me if I go this way, so on and so forth. But yeah, those role models or heroes, they're super important.
Yeah, man. Without them, it's tough to know, like, how am I supposed to fucking act?
Yeah.
How am I supposed to be? And it's a unfortunate thing that it's been cleared out of our society.
It is.
It's discouraged,
it is discouraging, and it's a lot of it goes back to this whole like where we're at in society, and this whole the participation trophy bullshit. Like, you're okay with how you are, or what you're like. And that, I think that's where a lot of it gets lost, because when you aspire to be somebody and if you don't achieve it, it feels shitty. And so we're just trying to take that away from it. We don't ever want anybody to feel bad. Everything's good. And you take that away and it just makes a bunch of soft, pussy-ass motherfuckers. And it just... Yeah. And then you get to where we're at right now, man. It's funny. A group of us were sitting around kind of talking about this... sort of sentiment, with where society's at. Yesterday after rolling, it was like me and Luke and Trey and Thomas, and it's palatable, like the amount of, like, I guess despair is a good word for it, to where a lot of us are like, dude, what do we do? Like, how did we end up here?
Yeah.
And we can kind of see how we ended up here. But how do we get out of this?
Yeah,
I think
things accelerated so goddamn quickly.
I think Trey even said that. He's like, because we got talking about the assault weapon ban, and and then we just had that mass shooting in Boulder at the supermarket. And dude, it couldn't have been a worse time. We got this administration coming in trying to ban weapons, and then we get this fucking mass shooting with this nut job. It's just a perfect storm. And dude, what do you do? Like, for us normal, rational thinking members of society, like, how do we course correct this?
Oh my God,
and the only thing I can think is you got to set the example, and you just have to be the best version, and just, worry about yourself, be that hero, be that role model for other people, and just stay the course, and don't give in to a lot of this bullshit.
Yeah.
You be done with it, because a lot of this, without getting political, but without having a better way to explain it, like the left side of the spectrum and the super progressive movement, they've turned into bullies because we've let them get away with it.
Yeah.
We've let them do it, and we're not standing up for it, and it's time. It's like, no, dude, I'm done.
Oh, yeah.
And I think a lot of us are starting to feel that way just because we're getting pushed too far, and you just let them go too far.
Yep.
Oh, I think we might have our post.
Oh, man, what do we got here?
Morning, Z.
What's up, buddy?
One of my most special cards.
Okay.
Alright, drop it on us, man.
Dragonite GX, Rainbow Rare, Secret Rare, Rare. It's, Stage 3. It evolves from Dragonair, which is its second stage. It's a GX. It can do 130 damage and 270 damage. Its attacks are Dragon Claw and Sky Judgment.
Ooh.
I don't
sweet move.
I don't know why Sky Judgment would actually do damage.
He's judged you to be freaking taking damage.
And then Match Delivery, GX does no damage.
Dogs are taking over the studio.
Let's see this.
And then it's a rare, and a long time ago I pulled this.
We actually learned how to play Pokemon.
Yes,
the actual game.
Cause Coach Angela at my birthday party, she gave me a little game set.
Yeah, it was a little board, Trainer Academy, and so it really kind of made it easy. And they took you through a mock game, so they had a little book that said, here, do this, and they just had you play through it so you could get a feel for it. And so, yeah, him and Keely did it, and I sat down and played with them, and it's actually kind of fun. It's not ridiculously, it's like most things, like once you start to wrap your mind around it a little bit, it makes sense, but at the beginning, you're looking at it, and you're like, this is so fucking crazy, this is so hard. And, but yeah, so now we actually know what a lot of these things on the card mean. So they're even cooler.
Cool.
Also, in one pack I got a Charizard GX, and another I got a Raichu GX, and in another I got a Mewtwo GX. But they were actually supposed to come in them. Every single card that came in them, I was supposed to get.
All right, man. Well, cool. What did we do on spring break? Anything?
Were you on spring break this week? You didn't have school all week?
No.
I was sick.
He was sick.
Were you?
He likes to do that.
I don't.
I know. I'm just kidding. Yeah, we had the week off, but he was feeling a little under the weather for most of it. But he's feeling better now. So yeah, we just kind of hung around the house and did some hikes and went out to Rabbit Valley and did some four-wheeling and yeah.
Like
pretty mellow.
Oh, never mind.
Pretty mellow spring break.
Nice.
So cool, man.
A long time ago, I pulled this card.
All right, buddy.
Cool.
You got anything else? No. All right, man. We'll see you.
Don't touch me.
Okay. We'll see you later.
Later, man.
He's yes, you got his Pokemon update in. So here's your
Nice.
inner tube.
Inner tube to wrap my lighter.
Yes.
Just like we learned at the survival skills course.
Yeah, man. Just cut off little strips and wrap it around it, and I haven't lit them on fire yet to make sure that they burn, but I should probably do that. But yeah, cool little survivalist trick. Have a little tinder in case you got to start a fire, because that was one of the lessons we learned, that starting a fire is not as easy
as you would think.
As you would think. Yeah, I mean, if you got the right things, it's not super hard, but it's not easy necessarily either. So, but where's my list? Here, I put this together. It's I was trying to help my mom and Kevin, and just putting together, like, they wanted to put together like a get home bag, and so I sat down and she's like, all right, all the shit that we've learned, all the things that I've learned over the last several months of stuff to have to be prepared, because that's the idea, right? You want to be prepared. And so yeah, I broke it down there. You got like your EDC, then you got like your extra bag, like I got that little Patagonia bag or whatever you can throw shit in, and then you got the get home bag that you keep in your car, or bug out bag, whichever way you're going. Coming or going, depends. But yeah, I thought it was kind of a cool list. Let me check it out, let me know what you think.
Seems pretty adequate.
Yeah. But I don't know, it's one of those things, and again, if anybody listening to this wants a copy of it, let me know. James at bikejames.com, and I'll be happy to fucking hook you up, or we're still at Grumpy Guy BJJ at gmail.com. Either one. Let me know. I'll send it to you. It's basically a list of like everyday carry, things you'd want to carry in like your pockets. If you carry around like a day bag, just a little something you can throw some other things in, and then your get home bag, but just like the list of shit that you should have in it to be prepared. So, because it is important to be prepared.
Yeah. Because once you need to be prepared, then it's really important.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of funny. Well, two things. One, there was a story. I did a little video take on some takeaways where a mountain biker got stabbed by a hiker.
Dude, I saw the headline. I didn't read it. I didn't get into it.
Yeah.
What transpired?
And so first off, these are two like dudes in their 60s. All right.
Sweet.
Just to like frame it properly.
Yes.
They again, I wasn't there, but if I had to guess, it sounds like the rider was not yielding to a group of hikers, and he was coming uphill, and there was like a section, and it was easier for him to just kind of like ride through and make it. So it was easier for them to kind of step off and let him ride through than it was for him to stop and have to start over again. And so he was like, yelling at them, and they're yelling at him. And it sounds like what happened is he just went, and one of the guys was like, I'm not moving. And he fucking rode his bike into him, and then he's clipped in. So he falls over, and he falls over on the guy.
Oh, no.
And the guy, from his point of view, thinks that this guy is attacking him. He rode his bike into him, and now he's on top of him. And, you know, he's on the bottom. And so he pulls out a fucking knife and starts fucking stabbing the dude.
Jesus Christ.
A little overreaction.
Just a touch.
So he ends up getting in trouble because he had like a switchblade or spring-assisted knife or something like that. So, you know, it was an illegal knife in Washington.
Well, hopefully that wasn't the only reason he got in trouble. Hopefully he got in trouble for also using the knife to stab somebody.
You know, I mean, that's up for...
up for argument in the court, huh?
You know, exactly. That's if there's one thing I've learned...
He can argue that he felt threatened.
That's right. If he felt...
defending himself.
Defending his life, man. Somebody's got a bike that he's ridden into him and is now on top of him. You know?
You could argue that you were being attacked.
You were being attacked and you felt threatened. Like, I don't think the guy was just like, I'm looking to stab someone today and, oh, here's a sucker. Like, I believe he legitimately felt like threatened on some level. He was probably a little pissed. You know, obviously things were heated at the moment. So again, this is just kind of just what I've gathered from, you know, reading stuff. But, yeah, man. So my takeaways for the riding community was, one, don't escalate things because, like, I mean, I would assume that there were probably some signs that this guy was getting agitated, the hiker was getting agitated before the incident happened. Mm-hmm. And continuing to just force the issue
didn't help. It didn't go from 0 to 100.
No.
Yeah,
and that's one of the things, like, we've really learn, and you know, we talk about when we're talking about this shit in general, is like, man, like, just because you carry a gun, just because you carry a knife, you don't want to use it. You want to de-escalate. Like, somebody's calling you a pussy, you've got the right of way and whatever. Dude, this is not worth it. Because again, like, you start to realize as you get into this that, like, that difference between social and asocial violence and how quickly things can shift into like a deadly force asocial violence situation. And if you're not willing to ride that fucking wave that far, it's not worth riding the wave. You know, for the most part, I would, you know, there's 99% rules with everything, right? But there's, but yeah, so one, like, don't fucking escalate things. And then two, like, carry a med kit. Like, that dude could have bled out. Luckily, he got off the mountain and was able to get to a hospital. But I would say he got fucking lucky. That if a dude's stabbing you...
Yeah, he could have got stabbed someplace that caused a tremendous amount of bleeding.
Yeah. Bleed out on the fucking mountain, man. Yep. I mean, even if you didn't hit an artery or something, if you're far away and you've got to, like, either wait for help or get
yourself out of there. Yeah.
It's just a long enough period of time to start to cause problems. So, yeah, it's like, man, carry a fucking tourniquet. Carry just some basic stuff to stop traumatic bleeding. And again, it's one of these things that you realize that when you get into this, I don't even know what you call it, like tactical self-defense world or whatever the fuck it is, you start to see, like, you look at other groups or you look at the rest of the world differently. You realize, like, dude, how fucking unprepared people are for dealing with violence. You know, both
dealing with almost anything.
Anything, yeah. Dealing with fucking a traumatic medical situation, dealing with fucking anything, man. I mean, we found out that most people don't even have enough food in their house to fucking last like a couple weeks. Yeah, they're out. Yeah, dude, I know we're a year into this shit, and the lessons that we should have learned
have already been forgotten.
Man.
Yep.
And people just double down on the shit that got us into this position in the first place.
Yep.
And that's frustrating for sure. That we just keep digging this hole fucking deeper and deeper, rather than like, no, man, we should have learned some lessons from this. Like, you need to be prepared. You need to be healthy. Like, you need to be hard to kill. And not just from another human being trying to kill you, but like, Mother Nature's a bitch.
From a virus. From Mother Nature.
Old age.
Yeah.
Like,
everything.
Everything's trying to kill you. And like, you need to make yourself hard to kill so that you can be like, you know, effective and also be there for the other people in your life, man. Mm-hmm. It's hard to be there if you're not, not there. That's some fucking Zen philosophy for you. hard to be there if you're not there.
Another public service announcement to people that are going to venture outdoors and you're on the trails and it's a single track. The uphill person has the right of way.
Well,
when it comes to four-wheeling, it's the same thing. If you're on a one-lane road and you're in a truck, it's a lot of time. The reason being, 9 out of 10 times in my experience, like if you had two mountain bikers too, you got a guy coming downhill and a guy coming uphill. The guy going uphill is that true in the mountain bike world?
It's supposed to be, yes.
The guy going uphill has the right of way because it is more difficult for that guy to have to stop and get started again. Same thing in a vehicle, like you're out on your Jeep trail. Someone's coming and going. The uphill guy, you should yield to the uphill guy just out of common decency.
Yeah, well, but there is a little triangle of power.
Okay.
You've seen the little thing like this guy yields to this guy, yields to this guy.
Maybe.
And the mountain biker's on the bottom of the fucking pyramid of power. So the mountain biker yields to everyone. Okay. So hikers yield to horses.
Oh, okay.
Right? Like it doesn't matter who's going uphill or downhill. Like if a horse is coming downhill and you're hiking uphill, hikers have to yield the right of way to horses.
Okay.
And so if you have two of the same,
then the
uphill person has it.
So your mode of transportation comes into play.
Right. And so the hikers have, the horse riders are the gods of the trail. Everybody yields to them. And they shit and piss on the trail, and everybody has to yield to them. It's fucking awesome.
And then the mountain bikers are the bottom of the food chain.
Mountain bikers are the bottom. They yield to everyone. Okay. There's no one that yields to a mountain biker.
See, to me, the common sense thing would be that the hikers are the bottom because they're more nimble.
Yeah.
They could get out of the way easier.
Yes.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Is that a common sense way to think about it?
It is, but the problem is access is more political than logical. Correct. So, like the Sierra Club... horse owners have a lot of money. You know what I mean? Like mountain bikers in general, that we're super late to the party, and we're nowhere near as well organized and funded as horse riding groups and hiking groups. Both of which don't like riders because mountain bikes can freak out horses.
Right.
Riders can freak out hikers, and so neither one of those groups really like mountain bikers, and so you've got them actively trying to keep mountain bikers at the bottom of the pile, and mountain bikers don't really have what they need to get out from that position. So there's been some progress in some areas, but now you enter the whole e-bike thing, and this is...
Are they even allowed on the trails?
They are allowed on trails, but the problem is that in trying, trails that were already open to mountain bikes, at this point, at least in Colorado, I think in general, I think that's one of the things that actually Trump did. He signed some fucking bill that basically made it legal for e-bikes to use public use trails. Mm-hmm. Like they weren't considered motorized vehicles in the sense of a motorcycle, because that's what was keeping them off of them. And so he signed something that said, no, that's not the fucking case. But that makes it harder now. So when mountain bikers are trying to gain access to more land, or wilderness areas or things like that, and now they're able to point to and say, well, look though, but as part of mountain biking, you guys have these e-bikes, and these things have motors on them, and you could, and so it makes it tougher to overcome, because we're no longer just a pedal-powered, human-powered machine. Like that was always the argument. Is like, dude, it's just human power. That's all it is. It's not a motorcycle. It's not a Jeep. There's no motor. Like the human being's the motor. So what's the difference between that and a fucking horse rider or a hiker? But now you put a motor on the bike.
Changes the argument a little bit.
And so that's why e-bikes are looked at. It's really funny, man, because the industry finds itself in this weird spot. And I may have said this before, because they love e-bikes because they're selling a shit ton of them.
I deliver a lot of those. Dude. Because they're heavy.
Yep.
So it gets put on a freight truck a lot. Dude, over the past year, I've delivered a lot of e-bikes. Yes. That's the Sunrun company, or what is that? How am I saying it right? Surun. So there's one that's real popular. It's like it might be Sunrun or SURUN. There's one that's really popular.
Yeah.
Dude, I deliver a lot of those things.
Yeah, because they're getting cheap and convenient, and so for commuters, like I think that one's probably more of a commuter bike, because that's where you see the real explosion in e-bikes, is like just commuters, normal people riding around the street. It's not, you're seeing it in mountain biking as well, but like really that's why the industry likes e-bikes, is because it's just open up these segments that were never open before. but it's not cool to like e-bikes. So you kind of have to act like you don't really like e-bikes while you're taking the fucking money from the e-bikes. Mm-hmm. So it's, I mean, knowing the fucking horrors that run the cycling industry, especially the mountain biking industry, that doesn't surprise me, but it's just funny to watch how they try and straddle this line between enjoying the money while pretending that like, oh, e-bikes, they might be, you know, bad. But it's, yeah, it's a funny fucking sport, that mountain biking.
But unfortunately, that guy got stabbed.
Yeah, but you need to be prepared. Like that was really like my overall message to the riders is like, you need to be prepared to deal with violence, and you need to be prepared to deal with like a traumatic injury situation. Like these are the two things that like there's no going back. Like if you don't know how to handle these things and they come across and they enter your life, like your life is going to be drastically different depending upon how prepared you were for that moment. Right? Mm-hmm. It's yeah.
A little preparation will go a long ways.
Fuck yeah, man. Fuck yeah. It's what is it? It's, I don't know, I heard somebody on the podcast say like if you have to draw your gun, like you're in a deadly force situation, like, you know, you got the rest of your life to figure out that tactical situation. You know, the rest of your life's probably like 1 or 2 seconds, but like that's what it is. Like at that moment, from that moment on, like the rest of your life hinges on what happens. You know, and so it's yeah, when you think about it that way, it's like it's the gravity of it starts to become more real, but we're so insulated from it because, you know, dude, we live in a fucking society where we've got microaggressions. Right? Like we're not worried about, I know, that's what I'm saying though, you know, we're missing the big picture.
Real threats. Real violence.
The real threats.
That's where all these fucking assholes talking about like words are violence and shit. Like it's all these people that don't have any idea what real violence actually is.
Right.
And it's just, yeah, I don't even want to open up that can of worms because it's so maddening. And
it is.
Like, there's no common sense, and it's coming from people that obviously have no clue what they're talking about.
No, man, and it gets repeated so many times and unchallenged, and then it's just like,
oh, this is it.
Yeah, this is it. Have you seen the new one that it's easier? It shouldn't be easier to buy an AR than it is to vote. I'm like, dude, anyone who says that has never bought a gun. I mean, you have to be speaking from ignorance.
Yeah, they think, these fucking idiots, they are. They're speaking from ignorance. They think you can just go on Amazon and order a gun and it's going to show up at your house. Yeah,
you have to pay for a background check.
Dude.
So you can't even do a background check on people voting.
No.
You know, it's like I know the breakdown of that is so ridiculous, but like the point is people make these emotional, like words are violence, right? They make these grandiose emotional statements, and then it triggers other people, and that's all it is. They're trying to trigger that emotional self we were talking about earlier. Like they are trying to take advantage of the irrationality of the emotional self, and that's exactly what's going on. And people are just like falling for it left and right. Like that's the thing that blows my mind is how many otherwise intelligent people seem to be like buying into this shit.
We got to wrap it up, but I'll leave it with this. Did you know the Columbine school shooting that happened, you know, several years back?
Yep.
Most people don't realize that in that time frame, there was an assault weapon.
That was during the last AR ban.
1994 to like 2004, I think it was like a 10-year span. There was an assault weapon ban, and that shooting took place. Mm-hmm. Just leave it at that.
Yeah.
It doesn't solve the fucking problem, man. They're not solving the right problem.
Again, I know we got to wrap it up, but I think, again, the problem is when you're talking about something, one person's talking about one thing, one person's talking about another thing, and, you know, so we talk about guns, and so we're talking about guns, but really one person is talking about something, and one person sees guns as just like guns, right? Just owning guns. Another person looks at it and sees it as an extension of self-defense, right? So the question isn't, should you be able to own an AR? The question that you really need to be asking is, do you have the right to defend yourself? That's the essential fundamental question. And if you feel that the answer is yes, now you have to start asking yourself, okay, well, what does that mean? You know, how do you determine what you can do? And at the end of the day, you realize, again, I think that people who are thinking about self-defense and are pro-gun, what they realize is that if I really am going to defend myself and I got to think about all possibilities, bad guys can have guns. There is a possibility I may have to defend myself against someone who has a gun. Well, what's the best way to defend yourself against someone that has a gun? With a gun. That's pretty much the only way, for most people. We're not fucking John Wick or Jean-Claude Van Damme or whatever, right? So, but that's the problem, is like these same people who are like, ban the ARs. Okay, well, let's sit down for a second, all right? Do you feel like you should be able to defend yourself? And then it's like, let's have this conversation. And it's like, now, the fact that you may have to deal with someone that has a rifle, or because again, maybe they don't have an AR, but maybe they've got a fucking hunting rifle. Mm-hmm. Your handgun is still at a disadvantage in that situation. But if so there's arguments for that. But like I said, man, I think that's the problem, is that you have one group in this country, and it's getting larger and larger and larger, who they don't take responsibility for their lives, and their own defense is one of the things that they don't take responsibility for. And for them, it's really easy to argue why you need to ban ARs and guns and things in general, because they don't look at life through the lens of like, do I have the right to defend myself?
No, they farm that right out.
Yeah, they farm that out, man.
Subcontracted out.
Yep, whether they did it consciously or not.
Their personal well-being and personal safety is just farmed out.
It's the government's responsibility to keep me safe.
Yep.
And so therefore I don't need to think about it. So therefore I don't need a gun. So therefore you don't need a gun. I mean, this is how this shit goes. And it's just, that's the sad thing, is it's just, I think, a sign of the bigger problem of people not taking responsibility for their own lives. And so here we are. That's all right. We're going to go do jiu-jitsu.
Fuck yeah.
All
right, see ya.
All right, man.